Healing is not just about what you do, it's about who you do the healing with. And if you do not find anybody to do the healing with, do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's even better you do it yourself. Owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your peace. No one is entitled to your peace. You know this feeling of people being entitled to how your emotional stability. That's when you know you are in a toxic relationship. Just know it's some form of witchcraft, something. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your progress. You don't owe anyone your mental health. You owe yourself a life that feels safe, a life that feels joyful, a life that feels free. You owe yourself the freedom to live and to be. Today's episode is another personal one. And before I start the video or I begin to talk, if you are someone that knows me, maybe from way back, family member, friend or former friend or colleague or former colleague, these videos I make about mental health and mental stability, about creating boundaries and choosing yourself, is not getting back at anyone. So if probably you've heard me in the past or heard ourselves in the past, this is not me getting back at you. I'm just making this disclaimer because you know how people think. So today's episode is about refusing trauma bonds. It's about choosing quality people, even when it means walking away from what is familiar, even when it means taking a step away from that context and that environment that we are used to. We'll be talking about what trauma bonding is, how and why we stay in trauma bonds, the psychology behind trauma bonding, and choosing quality people. Although we'll break it down better, right? We'll break down how to choose quality people better in the next episode. Then we'll round up this episode by building how to build healthy connections and stay and remain a healthy person, right? So that you can nurture your healthy connections. Hello everyone, Kiora, and welcome back to Tupono Health. In this podcast, we connect research, we connect culture, and we connect real talk to improve well-being for everyone across the world. Like I said, today's episode will be talking about refusing trauma bonding and choosing quality people. Now, because here is the truth, people do not like to talk about these problems, these things that bother them, right? Not everyone who has been through pain with you is supposed to be with you when you are healing. Not everyone who has been through a specific up and down with you is meant to walk you into healing. Some people are supposed to be detached away from you. Now, before I continue, let's remember that when the Creator made us, He made us as individuals. Even if you were born as a twin or a triplet or part of a multiple birth, you see, what do they call it? Fingerprints are different. Everything about us is different. People are made with different paths to life. Sometimes people come into our lives for a specific period of time, for a specific purpose, in a specific place. We must be sensitive enough to recognize when the time is up. We must be sensitive enough to recognize, look, in the next 3 to 5 years of my life, I will not need this particular person in my life. Or if I allow this person to continue to be with me, he or she may cause a major chaos in my life in the next 10 years? While we go through trauma bonding and what it is and why we should avoid it, or why we should refuse it, I use the word refuse and not avoid, because sometimes we find ourselves in relationships that we do not choose, especially family dynamics, family relationships. You're born into a particular family, you didn't choose it, right? Situations like maybe where we grew up, our hometowns, our villages, our communities where we live. Sometimes we do not choose those things. The religion that we belong to, our belief system, sometimes we do not choose it. We're born into it and we grew up. For instance, I was born into Christianity and I grew up a Christian, right? You may be born into Islam and you grow up a Muslim. So some of these things you do not choose. Let me go straight to what we're supposed to talk about. Let's talk about how to spot trauma bonds, what trauma bonds are, and if there's anything I'm mentioning today in this episode, please put it in the comment section, or just try and reach me and just educate me, or just make me know or understand many of the things that I may not have read about, or I may not know, or I may not be talking about. Let's see how to break them down, how to choose relationships that nourish and not drain, right? Relationships that nourish us and not drain us. Because most times the reason why we feel drained is because of the kind of relationships that we have with people, either family, either romantic relationships, either religious relationships. So what is trauma bonding? It appears like it happens when we form intense emotional connections with people through shared pain, shared dysfunction, shared chaos, right? It's not always romantic. It's not always about the romantic side of it. It can be friendships, it can be family, even professional relationships. It could be that you grew up in the same family, um, and you share the same problems, you share the same pain of family dysfunction. That situation bonds you and that person, and you feel okay, you are in the same space, you're in the same mental space with that person. Long ago, I worked in a company where, or not too long, anyways, about last year, I met someone in academics who was already experiencing burnout at the beginning of his research. Of course, yeah, I was going through my own phase of disappointment and academic dynamics that one may not understand at the beginning of one's program. We bonded over this shared frustration. But over time, I noticed that our conversation was, looped. It never moved forward. It was just going around and round and round. Now it was going around, not moving forward, not providing any solution, right? These conversations were stuck in bitterness. They were stuck in blame. They were stuck in venting to ourselves, bitterness against what who had written what, and who had said what, or who had and organized what, blaming government, school, department, group, a lot of things. So I realized we're not healing. Although it's good to vent, as a PhD student, sometimes you're advised to look for a fellow PhD student and vent to the person, right? But then when it becomes a habit, then it becomes unhealthy. So we're not healing, we're only looping. Trauma bonds feel deep. It feels like deep connection, right? But they're often built on survival, not growth. So that those venting, that that feeling of bitterness you feel, not towards the person but alongside the person's own bitterness, creates the sense of you being in the same space with the person. And that is not about, oh, he gets me and I get her, or she gets me, I get. No, it's because you people are trauma bonded as a result of an issue that is affecting you both. It's not because you really like each other, it's not because you're friends. It's not because you wish well for one another. You may wish well for them, they don't wish well for you. The reason why they are talking to you or being with you at that moment is because you're also going through the same problem. If they see another person, if you are able to sort your problem and leave them, in that space of bitterness where they are, and you kind of outgrow that phase, you will see that they will look for another person who does not like you and begin to, vent their frustrations about you to the person. That's how the human mind works. So, why do we continue to stay in trauma bonds, family, romantic relationships, toxic, abusive marriages, places of work that that are so toxic? You wake up every morning not wanting to go, not because you do not love your job, but because you practically do not want to be with those people in your workplace. Let's be honest, familiarity is comforting. It's like it's nice to have people around. It's nice to belong to a family, to a system, to a community where loyalty is sacred, especially in cultures like African, Asian, the Pacific cultures where loyalty is sacred. In Nigerian culture, there's a saying that blood is thicker than water. But sometimes that blood, that blood can drown you. Sometimes the water from friendships from people who are not family members will save you more than the blood that you share with someone from the same womb. In New Zealand's Maori language, there's a context, a concept that translates to kingship, a person's ancestry, a person's lineage. This is what binds people together, whether people, siblings of the same parents or different parents, or somehow that thing, that binds, that ancestry, that lineage that connects them, that connection is very sacred to them. But then what happens when that bonds become toxic? Why do we stay when these bonds, this kingship, this siblinghood, this familial, this supposed to be comforting familiar relationship, when what happens when they become toxic? Why do we stay? We stay because we fear being alone, the fear of loneliness, the fear of waking up and not seeing your sibling, the fear of waking up and not seeing that parent you grew up with, or that caregiver that you grew up with. We feel guilty for leaving because whether we like it or not, the day we voice our thoughts of leaving, we become the black sheep of the family. So even before we leave, we feel guilty for leaving. So to avoid such guilt, we stay in the relationship. We think that shared things equal shared destiny. So, for instance, if I had a dysfunctional childhood with someone, could be sibling, could be step, could be cousin, right? We begin to think that, okay, that shared pain will become shared destiny. We should do things together. We should be together. We should be for each other. We must be bonded just because we suffered, something similar growing up. Same thing with colleagues at work. Say you had a boss you did not really agree with. Together you were always bitter against this person. You were always not in a good place with this boss. So both of you begin to think that, okay, because you share the pain, your destiny now begins to align, or something like that. And that's why when you see maybe a colleague is leaving a place of work, maybe changing jobs or changing careers and leaving that company, there is a little bit of resentment from other people, not out of envy, but out of how are you leaving us? How are you able to leave us in this painful situation? How are you being so wicked? Why won't you stay with us, to go through this pain together? Why won't you suffer this pain with us? The same thing in a family system, in a dysfunctional family system. In fact, there are families that from dusk to dawn is trouble, is pain, one type of pain or the other. The day you decide to say, this, I am tired of it, I'm leaving, you become a bad person. You become a bad person not because you actually did anything to them. You become a bad person because it's like, how are you leaving us to in this dysfunction? Not because they want to work on it, not because they are going for any form of therapy or um doing any kind of brainstorming to avoid or refuse or repair that dysfunction. No, they are angry because you're leaving, and then they are going to continue that circle for themselves. You are detaching, and then it's creating a void in what they already know to be true. So let's discuss the psychology behind trauma bonding. Like I used to say, this podcast is about research culture, general well-being. So if I bring a concept and it feels interesting and you want us to discuss further, please put it in the comment section or reach me personally on Instagram. If it's something you want to study, just go online and read about it. It will help. Watch other videos if you can. Listen to other podcasts on this topic if you can. The purpose for this podcast as a whole, not just this mini series on mental health, is not because I want to put myself out there. It's because I want to make impact. It's because I want to shed light on things that people like me may not understand. It's so great when we're the world, God has created us as different people, different colors, different hair types, you know different fashion sense. So it's nice when someone like you is discussing a topic or a context that you can relate with. My podcast, my channel is about impact. It's about how to upgrade people's well-being, people's mental health, people's research culture. Maybe I'll talk about immigration someday. I do not know. I was pulled to do something 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago on how to gain doctoral scholarship in New Zealand. Maybe I could do something like that again. Good. But this is what I do on this podcast and is for the impact of it. So, research shows that trauma bond often mimics intermittent reinforcement. And this has happened to me severally, right? It's a psychological pattern that, like, it's where unpredictable rewards create strong attachment. It's the same mechanism in gambling addiction. In my life, there was a time, or there are periods that I've met people, or even close family members. This person will offend me and tell me toxic things and tell me abusive things. This person will abuse me psychologically, emotionally, physically, not just when we are together, but even when we're in the midst of other people. Guess what? Guess what they do later? They go back. Now, when we are left alone, they buy me gifts. Just go, even if they don't have the money at that moment. Somehow they look for the money and buy me gift so that I can, stay attached to them. It was a lot of mental trauma growing up. Till today, when I want to discuss such trauma with such family members, it becomes a tug of war. They don't want to hear, they don't want to listen. But in my healing, I believe staying away or Giving space is not enough. Sometimes you have to say something. I was on Twitter, sorry, on X some time ago, and I saw this lady that said whenever she remembered something from her childhood, something maybe her parents did to her, she goes to her parents or she calls them and say, "Daddy, this thing that you did to me when I was 4 years old, why did you do that?" And then maybe the person will say, the dad or the mom will say, "Okay, maybe I didn't remember." And then she'll say sorry. It looked funny, it looked hilarious doing that, but that is her own way of healing. I encourage conversation if people are willing to listen. Again, just like gambling addiction. So they give you the gift, the following day they repeat same. They maybe make food for you, another day they repeat the same thing. So you are trauma bonded in that situation, in that family system, in that romantic relationships. When you hear about physical abuse, not just emotional abuse, now physical abuse, where the spouse one spouse will physically hit the other spouse, the victim stays in that relationship because of trauma bonding. The victim is trauma bonded to the predator. To the predator. I'll call them predators now, because there are instances where the person beating the predator, I don't want to say the man beating the woman now, because even women beat men. So even for instance, say the man beats the woman in the morning, he goes out. As he's coming back in the evening, he buys, something big. Could be designer clothes, designer bags, cars, you know. So the woman is wearing those designer clothes with blue eyes and black, beating all over, inflammation, pain all over her body. Her soul is beaten down. Her soul is crushed. Her spirit is crushed. But she's looking all glam because, yeah, they've given her all those gifts, so she's staying there. And again, she's thinking, if I go, what how do I take care of myself? How do I maintain this lifestyle? It's both ways. Men, women. Men can be attached, trauma bonded to women. Women can be trauma bonded to men. Siblings can be trauma bonded to themselves. Parents, the same thing. Then that was reinforcement theory. Another one is attachment theories, and this play a role. So if we grow up in an unstable role, or with unstable family members or caregivers, we may confuse intensity with intimacy. That's when you hear phrases like tough love. Ah, that woman, that person, that man, they have tough love. We confuse intensity of the person's intention, yeah, with intimacy. The person may be showing you tough love, not because they really love you, but because they are just keeping you as like their trash can. Whenever they need to vent, whenever they need to hurt anyone, maybe they don't like something about themselves that day, and they need to do something to someone to feel better about themselves. It's you. You are like their trash can. Now here is the kicker. Trauma bonds feel like love most times, especially in family settings. But they are often fear in disguise. If I let this person go, who will I vent to? If I let this person go, who will I hurt to feel better about myself? If this person stays away, then everybody around me will know the kind of person I am. So, the predators in trauma bond relationships are usually scared of letting their victims go. The victims are also scared of leaving because of what we've discussed before. Fear of guilt, fear of what people will say, fear of the unknown, what they'll meet out there. What if they meet someone worse than the person they are living? What if they meet situations worse than the situations they are living? So they are scared. My people, if any of you feel trauma bonded today, I advise you, take that leap. career wise, in your place of work, in your family relationships, in your romantic relationships, in your health. Take that leap. Sometimes you just need to leave. If you're a spiritual person, if you're someone that pray before you make, while you plan. Pray while you are making that decision. Pray after you leave. Let God help you. Sometimes you just need to cry out for help from God and solutions to come. Until you take the leap, you would not know what you're capable of. You would not know what you're made of. In taking that leap, the first point of contact, or one very important uh, thing to note, is about choosing quality people. How do we break free from trauma bonded situations and relationships and choose quality people? When I tell people about choosing quality people, I don't have a lot of close friends myself, but the people around I have around me now, and shout out to anyone I talk to today, you are the real deal. You are my go-to person. Because the Rhoda that I am today is the successfully or successful lonely Rhoda. I am happy in my space. Because this is the person that used to be scared being alone. I used to fear everything, what people will say, how people will perceive me, how people will look at my body, my hair, I mean. So if you are somebody I chat with, I call, I speak to in this phase of my life, you are the real deal. And I'm using this opportunity to say thank you. So let's talk about choosing quality people. Like I said, we'll discuss it in detail in the next episode. Here's what I've learned in, choosing, like as a summary, anyways, choosing people, choosing quality people. And I use the acronym OQP. OQP means only quality people. OQP, only quality people. In my career, only quality people. In my family, only quality people. In my finances, only quality people. In my spiritual life, only quality people. Everywhere, only quality people. These people may just be one person, maybe someone who I see on a physical level, in maybe in person, maybe someone that is even virtual in another country, may just be one person. Some people are lucky to have two, three, seven, 20, but choose quality people for your life, for every aspect of your life. You don't need to be friends with everybody. In fact, someone that is friends with everybody is not even a good person, because you can't even trust the person's loyalty to you. So this is what I've learned. And these are the things I live by. Just three things. Recognize a pattern. Do I feel safe? Do I feel seen? Do I feel supported? Or do I feel just stuck in this relationship? Most times we see things happening in our families, and we do not recognize that it's a pattern. So we continue to have issues with this person, with this family, with this family member or family members, not recognizing that this thing is a pattern. You can't change it. You can't break it. The only thing you can do is to remove yourself, you know, from that quagmire, from that circle. If you don't feel supported in a relationship, if you don't feel seen, if you don't feel safe, then you do not need to be there. I had someone come to my house in December last year. And immediately she came into my house. I think the following day she were on the dining table, and then we're talking, and then she said something like, "I don't feel safe." And I'm like, I put everything to ensure that this person feels welcome in my home. Why would she say she doesn't feel safe? Is it because I'm black? Is it because I'm an immigrant? And I began to question myself, and I began to question my intent, my own intentions. I, 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 I began to ask myself, what do I really want from this person? At the end, when she was leaving, because I had to ask her to leave. When she was leaving, she said something like, if I needed any friend that she would be available to speak to me. I said, no, I don't need a friend. I'm not here to make friends. Like, I had to remind myself, look, no, you're not. This level you are now is not to make friends. Friends will come. Genuine quality friends will come. I don't have to stress myself. So recognize the pattern, then create space. Create space. Don't be afraid to give people space. Don't be afraid to, create space. When same time last year, I think sometime last year, when I was just settling down here, I met this lady, Nigerian. And then I felt, okay, yeah, the same career path, the same struggle, Nigerian family women abroad, all those kind of things. And then came home, and I first of all I chatted her because she was carrying a young baby. So I chatted, I was like, how are you? Hope you and your baby got home safely. Because they were even looking for I think they were looking for the right bus station for themselves or something for she and her baby. And I had to ask my people, this lady fashioned me. She said nothing. Again, when she even responded, it was more of, just it was more like she doesn't really care, or she doesn't, need me, or she doesn't want my conversation. I recognize the pattern. I recognize that this is the kind of person that wants me. She wants me to come, but then she wants me to be the one to be giving, to be pushing in the relationship, to be giving into building the relationship. So, me too, I cut off. I just, withdrew. I gave her the space. Sometimes people need space. You too, you need space, right? Again, I had to remind myself, I am not here to make friends. I had to remind myself, the people that will be my friends will come. It may just be one person, and it may be online. Maybe you watching me. So put yourself in that situation too. You don't need many people around you. No, you don't. And again, you don't have to cut off people with anger, especially we Nigerians, because we are loud. We do things with emotion, right? We are emotionally verbal. So when we are not happy about a situation, we are voicing it out. We are angry. We are doing this. And look, most of these people that do things to hurt other people, they know what they are doing. You don't have to remind them of what they've done to you. You can step back with grace. Step back with grace. Bow out in grace, especially when the ovation is louder. Bow out with grace. They want to talk, let them talk. They want to raise smear campaigns against you, allow them do it. If it's something you can take legal actions for, why not? Why not take legal actions for smear campaigns and whatever the lawyers call it, and make some money for yourself? But then again, if it's something if you know you don't want to go that route, just bow down. Just bow out in grace. The next one is choosing quality over history. Because you have a history with someone does not mean you have a future with the person. Yes, because you grew up in the same household with someone, because you've worked at a job in the role or system with somebody, or in the company with somebody for 10, 20 years, does not mean the next 20 years of your life you need to be with that person. Choose quality instead of history. My friend of over 10 years, my friend of over 20 years, some of these friends do not serve us anymore. Some people come into our lives for different purposes, for different times. God brings people into our life. I can give example. Back in Thailand, the first people that welcomed me into Thailand welcomed me well. They were supportive. At least for the first, okay, no, the first 2 weeks I was in quarantine. Then I left the hotel, right? At least for the first 2 weeks of, getting to find my feet in Thailand with the pandemic and everything, they were supportive. But then I started seeing changes. Maybe for maybe being too tired. Maybe they were getting tired of who I was at the time because I wasn't mentally in a good place mentally at all. Being a woman with kids who had to leave her kids and going to such a country, just trying to make a living for herself. It was not good for me and my family at all. And then I was working with high cortisol. I was operating on high level of cortisol. So it was affecting everything I was doing, including my relationships. The mistake I made was not recognizing when these people, you know, started becoming kind of toxic towards me. I would have cut off earlier. But then I didn't. I just felt, oh, maybe they have their own issues and they are going through their own problems, and they'll come around. So I was always there. They'll come around. There was one day I checked on them and they were inside their room. Um I could see from their window blind that they were inside their room. I kept knocking, I kept hailing out, how we do it with people we know. And this person did not see a thing. We were living in the same apartment, but different rooms. Not see a thing. I felt bad again. But then I felt scared. Like, am I that bad of a person? That is when I should have known that because people were nice to you at a particular phase of your life does not mean they have to be in your future, does not mean they have to be in the next phase. Did I find people who helped me, who were good for my mental health later on, even while in Thailand? Yes. Man, I met people, good people. I found people. In fact, I found people that took me away from that apartment. Like people that came into my room and said, "Brother, why are you living like this? You need to leave this apartment." I found people that took care of me. But even those people were there for a reason, for that time, for a particular purpose. People come into our lives for different reasons. Nature, God, the creator brings people into our lives for different reasons. If we don't recognize when it's time to bow down in grace or bow out gracefully, then we'll be inviting trouble for ourselves. It includes family members. Even if we're from the same womb, there is a time to live. There is a time to be on our own, to maintain the respect, to maintain the aroha, the love, the dignity, the prestige, the kingship. Before I go, I'll share a story of someone I knew. It's, it's been almost 20 years. This person, right till I think last year or 2 years ago, constantly dismissed my growth. Anytime, maybe when they call and be like, I'm doing this, I'm here now, my plans and everything. They constantly dismissed my growth. If I share my wins, they'll change the subject. Most time they change it to theirs. Have they bought this? Have they been in this country? They've helped this person? Have they given this person large sums of money? When I set boundaries, they mock me. They go to other family members. They go to this person is a close family friend, but knows some of my family members. So he goes to my family members and mock me. Look, she's creating distance. Look at her. Say things. So I realized that history is not healing. That the person is in my history does not mean the person will be with me in my healing. And also does not mean the person will be with me in my growth. So I chose peace. I chose peace. In building connections, I'm rounding up now. There are 5 qualities I look at, right? First and foremost, I've been saying this, and I don't know how to really pronounce this word. It's reciprocity. You give, they give. You give love, they return love. You share, they share, right? So it's not only you giving, it's not only you nurturing that relationship. It's not only you being good to that person, they're also good to you. Another one is respect. Your boundaries are honored. Look, I won't go to if someone I respect, I won't go to the person's house unannounced. Even in terms of in cases of emergency, I will call. Worst case scenario, send a message. Worst case scenario, reach somebody that will reach somebody that will reach somebody that will reach them that I'm coming. I've had situations in my life where, because I couldn't set boundaries, many people, many family members, right, did not respect me. I've had people leave wherever they left, 10, 12 hours journey, coming to my house, my home, without informing me. I've had people bring in guests into my home without informing me. I've even had people bring in guests to, come and talk down on me. In the early years of my marriage, I think the first year of my marriage, this guy came with this other family member, and then he was talking, and then he was like, in trying to, how you advise newly wedded couple. This time, this person faced me. And this person is a man himself, and he faced me, and he's like, "Don't allow your mother." And I'm like, I don't even know this person. So anytime I think about this situation, be like, is it this family member that has said something about me to this his friend, and this his friend has now come into my home to run me down, or to make me feel small in my home? Or is it that this person is going through hell in his marriage, and he's coming to, transfer the aggression on innocent me? Respect. When you respect people, they ought to respect you. Do they respect you? Then when you respect them. And it's not about age. Because we do a lot of things, we do a lot of eye service and lip service because we respect people because of their age. Look, some people don't realize they are older than you, so they don't carry themselves like people that are older than you. You need to choose wisely. You need to choose quality people. Even when it comes to family relationship, you need to look at your family and say, okay, this person may be a quality person, and this is the only person that I'm going to allow into my space. And other family members will also be thinking same of you, right? You may not be the right person for them, so they may not allow you into their space, which is okay. The most important thing there is that everyone is okay. Another one is growth. You feel encouraged to evolve when you are with the right person, when you are with quality people. They feel like your mentors. You see them like people that you can, always run to and tell them, look, I have achieved this. Look, I have become this. Look, I am doing this. When I started this podcast, I talked to so many people that do not talk to me anymore. They just stopped talking to me. How dare she start a podcast? They feel I can't grow beyond what they know me or what they knew me to be. Another one is joy. When you are with quality people, you laugh more than you cry. You're happy for them. They are happy. They are genuinely happy for you. And it's not pretense. On a cultural note, that in Nigeria, there's a proverb that says, if you're building a strong house, you need strong pillars, you need strong foundations, right? Your people, the people you choose and keep around you are your pillars. I advise you, as you're watching this, I advise you today, choose wisely, choose quality people. We'll discuss this better in the next episode, like I promised. And ensure to watch, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, listen to all these episodes till the end. I promise you, you will learn a thing or two, if not for yourself, for the people that you mentor, for the people that you teach, for your family. You can even refer others. In closing, my dear friends, healing is not just about what you do. It's about who you do the healing with. And if you do not find anybody to do the healing with, do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's even better you do it yourself. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your peace. No one is entitled to your peace. You know this feeling of so people being entitled to how your emotional stability. That's when you know you are in a toxic relationship. When people are annoyed that you are at peace, just know it's some form of witchcraft. Something. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your progress. You don't owe anyone your mental health. You owe yourself a life that feels safe, a life that feels joyful, a life that feels free. You owe yourself the freedom to live and to lose. So today, I invite you to reflect. Who in your life feels like a trauma bond? Who in your life feels like a healing space? Choose quality, choose peace, choose you. Send me your thoughts, send me your reflections, send me your stories in the comment section and on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Rhoda360 _pod pod. I'd love to hear how you're choosing yourself, how you're choosing better, how you're making the right choices in terms of choosing the right people, choosing quality people in every aspect of your life. I'd like to also hear how you're refusing to be trauma bonded. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, stay winning. This has been Suhono Health. Cheers.